next week I will be well, it's through Caroline's on Broadway. It's Caroline's Outdoors.
Okay.
We're doing the Times Square Alliance show, I think is what it's called. Basically, if you just walk through Times Square in the middle of the week next week, you could see a ginger doing comedy in the middle of Times Square.
That is not a good idea.
I can't wait. Look, here's the thing.
Woo!
I spent the pandemic doing shows in the weirdest places.
Okay.
So
So you've
there's
trained.
nothing you can throw at me right now that
Right.
would shock me. I mean, I was in an abandoned Sears parking lot. I'll go wherever. If there's a paycheck involved,
You're like, as
I'm
long as I
not
don't have to wear the clothes, I'll do it.
well, geez. If I don't wear clothes, if I don't
I
wear
mean the
clothes in
Sears
Times Square,
Toughskins.
let's be real. Oh, if
When
I
you were
had to
telling
wear
me
Sears.
when you were telling me about the Carolines thing, it made me think I when I first moved to New York, I couldn't get on anywhere.
Mhm.
And so I had someone that wanted to manage me. And she's I all I could think of, I said, listen, if you could get me on a Caroline's so I get it on that stage, you can manage me.
Yeah.
So it took her like 6 months and I got an audition, right? So,
Okay.
okay, so I go. Then at 4 o'clock, the day of the show, she calls me and says, "Can you bring some people tonight to tonight's show?"
Oh, no.
And I said,
No.
"Get me off this show." No, no, it's fine. We just need to get some people. I go, no, we don't need to get people. We don't need to
No.
get people. I'm not
You
going to
need
play your show. And she got really hot with me. Listen, it took me so long to get you this thing. You got it. So I go down there, and she's just hammering me. I go, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. So they get a person to be the audience member.
No.
What does it hold? 400 people, 350, 400 people inside.
Oh, no.
A person, so it's a
In
drunk
Caroline? Only one person in
one
Caroline?
person in row 3. She was in this luckily, she was in the center, so she could really demoralize me personally, and she's hammered, doesn't wanna be there.
She's wrecked, like,
She's
she's
wrecked.
drinking?
She's wrecked, and
Oh.
just as I go up there, the person that wants to manage me says, "Whatever you do, don't talk to her. Just do your material. We just wanna see material." So, luckily, I didn't even do that. I was just like, you know, it was insane, and then
Uh,
when I came off, the person's like, "So, are we gonna sign to manage?" I go, "No, no."
No.
She says, "I got you into Caroline's." I go, "You made sure I will never work at Caroline's. What is wrong with you?"
Oh
The
my
fact that you don't
god.
know that, the fact that you don't know that putting someone you wanna represent up in Caroline's in front of one drunk person,
Who was this manager?
I'm
Do you
not
remember her name? Is it, like, burned in
I
your
know her
brain for
name, but I'm
forever?
not gonna say it because, she probably is married to a lawyer now, so,
Oh my god. You know what? It's these kinds of stories
yeah.
that make me say, "What the hell are we doing?" But A, and
Well, it's not
B,
like I had anything to fall back on.
yeah, no, God, no, we don't have any
It's not
workable
like I had
skills.
choices.
Are you kidding? I don't do pottery, I don't bake, I don't do
I
anything.
don't have any skills. People are
This
always like,
is
"You're so funny off the cuff, you make fun of people." I go, "That skill has got me fired from, like, umpteen jobs."
yeah, but, it'll catch wind on TikTok, and then you'll be
Yeah, oh, yeah,
skyrocketing.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't have any functional skills. I don't have any workables. And that's the thing. I come from a family of first responders, and then there's me, and I'm like, "Well, I
So
don't know where the genetic
you show
roadmap
up and
went
someone's
wrong."
having a heart attack, and you go, "Listen, did I ever tell you about my dysfunctional relationship?
Exactly. "What's the deal with alligators?"
Listen, stay with me, stay with me. I'm
I
gonna try it.
killed,
You seem a little better
literally.
now. You seem like you have a little color in your face. I'm gonna try a new bit. Just tell me how you think it is."
I have no shame. I have no if you put me in a heart unit in a, like, emergency ward, I'll do it. I will kill. I will literally kill. I need new material. I will
Listen,
kill.
you're going in for elective surgery, but before they put you under, I just wanna try one more joke.
Okay, just one as you're going under. I don't okay, can you just give me feedback on the tag?
Just blink if you like it. Just blink.
Yeah, yeah. Beep, beep, beep. I think you liked it, you guys, I think.
I think that's gonna work tonight.
Flatline if you liked that last joke.
Yes. And you got a lot of great feedback. We did the St. Patrick's Day shows at
Was that the
the
last time I was there?
music hall. It's the last time I saw you, I
Oh, the
think.
music hall. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I love that place. Oh
Isn't that
god, I
great?
love that place. Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
fun. It's so vintagey looking, and
Have you done
it's
the
just
Catherine Hepburn Theater for us?
yes, yeah, I have.
Okay, I don't know. I'll talk to you after this, but I'd love to get you back down
Oh,
there.
I will. I'll take the
We're supposed
Kate
to be talking
Hepburn.
comedy. We're talking. Well, I guess that's comedy. That's legit.
If you're booking me on something, it's comedy.
Yeah, we don't care. We don't care.
No, yeah, the last time I was in Portsmouth was the music hall, and that was St. Patty's Day. And the wild thing about that was I was doing the same show I was doing, which was my final show before the shutdown. And it was such delicious PTSD because it was like we were in that music
I
hall,
know.
which if anybody's listening has not been to the Portsmouth Music Hall, I think it's such a cool venue.
It's like
And
900 seats, and we
yeah,
did
it's
it
a
the
lot,
first time for like 200, right?
if that. I
Yeah,
mean, because
yeah.
that was days before the shutdown.
Well, we
That was
we
when we
had
were all like looking around going, I don't know, should we all
I had
be
like
here?
4 theaters booked, and they were all the sales were going crazy.
Yeah.
In the music hall, we had over 700 tickets selling, and I was
Oh,
not willing to accept that anything was happening. Like, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, "What is this, a flu? What is it, a real thing?" And
yeah.
and every day, the theaters, all of them for a couple of days, hang tough, and then they're like, "We're down to 500 people. We're down to 400 people. We're down to 300 people. We're
Mhm.
canceling. We're canceling." And the music hall was like, "We're gonna do it," but I was like, "I don't know," and we did it, but it was,
It was the creepiest feeling.
yeah, it's like one of those shows after the apocalypse, or like or an hour before the apocalypse. You get to sit and you get to finally get your show in a beautiful theater, and
Like,
everyone's dead.
I feel like it's the equivalent of the Titanic band playing as they sank.
Yes,
I'm like,
yes,
you know that it's not there's something wrong,
yep.
and everybody does, but you just sort of go about doing what you're doing, and it was so weird also because my husband's on the Broadway, and his shows got canceled, and I had a whole weekend booked with you guys. I was gonna do Portsmouth, I was gonna
Yes,
do Somerville, I was gonna go all these
Markham, I think
places.
Markham Theater in
Yeah.
Beverly.
I had, like, a whole weekend planned,
Yeah,
and but also before that, all my shows, I had this, like, really packed week of shows, and I just watched them disappearing one at a time, and I was like, "What's happening?" But Portsmouth held, and then Broadway was canceled the Thursday before. So it was, like, the day before Portsmouth, and we thought it was just gonna be 2 weeks.
I thought so
So,
too.
well, that's why we were like I said to Jim, I was like, "Great, let's go up New Hampshire, we'll have a vacation, it'll be lovely." Cut to 2 years later, so then to come back to the music hall 2
Yeah,
years to that, like, day
right.
that it all happened was such a strange out of body, "Oh my god, I'm here again," and
Yeah,
it's also been, like it's weird because everything that was supposed to happen 2 years ago got pushed to this year for me to do, so it was like, I did that show, and then I did the TED Talk that I was supposed to do in 2020. I did it at the end in April of 2022, and it was just like it's weird to come back to the things that had disappeared right before the pandemic, and also come back as kind of not a new person, but like a better comic, or I think I got better during the
yeah.
pandemic.
Well, I'll tell you, they raved about you. I have friends from up here that came to the show,
Nice.
and they were very impressed.
Well, tell them I said thank you.
I will. Yes, I'll give you the numbers. You can call them individually and thank them after.
Good, I will. I got the time for it. Come through. Come through. And it's at McHugh's. I've been to McHugh's once before, so it's cool that I get to go back there. I love New Hampshire.
Yeah, yeah. It's a special breed. Special breed.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like growing up in Boston/New Hampshire because we have a house in New Hampshire. Like my parents built a cottage. Like they built, when I think about what we did, these are not the people
Yeah,
who should be building homes. What are we
right,
doing? But they
right.
did. It's like they got the frame of the house built and then we basically built the inside. So I've been in New Hampshire since I was 8. So we kind of go back and
Well,
forth and
it's
back and forth.
it's awesome that that actually that club is there because of COVID. Because I went in, they had a tent out in front of this Roundabout Diner,
Yeah.
and I was stopped. I just want to see if there's a place we could do comedy outside. And I talked to the owner, and he said, "Well, we do music out there." I was like, okay. And he says, I got a room in the back. You want to do that? And he shows me this little function room. He says, we can only seat 42. I go, I don't care if you can seat 12.
Yeah.
We just did Jim
Yeah.
McHugh and Friends, and all my friends from Boston were like, I'll drive up and do 10 minutes. Like, I'll drive, like, and a lot of times
Yeah.
there's 8 people there. We didn't care because it was the best for comedians. A comedy club and a diner is like the best of all worlds.
Yeah.
You can sit in the booth and talk about yourself all night and then go do your set and then come back and sit about your,
And fries are waiting for you,
fries are
you
waiting,
know?
cup of coffee.
Yeah, please. I mean, especially during the pandemic, it was like I said, it's like, so I'm doing the show in Caroline's in the middle of Times Square next week, and I'm like, that's nothing until you have survived Central Park with
Mm,
no amplification. That's what we were
wow.
doing.
Wow.
And we were doing rooftops. Like life, if I can quote Jeff Goldblum, was finding a way. Like
Yeah.
life found a way. And that's so whatever comics stayed in the city. And I talk about this actually in my TED Talk, which should be coming out soon. It was kind of like this awesome time to me because there were only like, so many of us there, but we still came out. And it was like the height of COVID and the height of all like the riots and the chaos and the like upheaval and everything. But we all still kind of kept coming out and we would do shows in Central Park. And we couldn't legally have amplification because you'd have to, like, pay a fee if you wanted to be
Of
amplified.
course. Well, that's yeah.
So, it was so grassroots, but you would go to Sheep Meadow, which if you've ever been in Sheep Meadow in Central Park, that's how we got the joke, "This is the one place you can see people doing meth and tai chi, and you cannot tell the difference." So, it's
Very
like
relaxed people.
yeah, it's like real yeah, everybody's moving very slow, but you're like, "God, is that guy doing standing crane?" Um, it was wild because comics of all stripes were coming out, and it was like like I'm sharing the park stage with people who have Netflix specials and people who have done late night a whole bunch of times, and it was like the great equalizer because we were all there together, starting from scratch. Also, because it felt like all your material had no potency anymore. You had to deal with what was happening in front of you.
That's right.
So it was cool. I actually liked it, and I liked this, like, really depressing time. We had this group of people that would come out, we'd do park shows. There's a place in Brooklyn called Tiny Cupboard, and they were the only place that was, like, doing shows on a rooftop. Totally, like, you would get up there and be like, any day now, one of us is gonna go through the floor. Like, this
Right.
is not to code, it's soft. Like, I'm on
Yeah,
a
yeah,
soft roof. And the
yeah.
J train was behind us, and fireworks would go off in the middle of your set, and then a couple was getting married on the rooftop across from us, and it was guerrilla comedy. But I think it was like I've never earned my stripes so hard, and I'm not like, you can keep your open mics and all that stuff, if you did comedy during the pandemic in New York City and you came through the other side still wanting to do it, you're golden.
Yeah, yeah. That's great.
Yeah, it was cool.
I think there's I hope somebody must have videotaped some of that. There's definitely
Oh, yeah.
a little movie
There's
there.
there's lots of it. I mean, if you look at I think Sam Morril has a special on YouTube that was filmed, like, in different
He's great, isn't he?
rooftops. He's such a good joke writer.
Yeah,
Such a good joke. I mean, like, you got to appreciate it's the
yeah.
structure of things he does, there is no fat. It's just doop, boom, boom. He's great. I've had the pleasure
There's so much.
doing those shows.
I try to avoid watching comedy too much because it's for a lot of reasons. But there's a few guys that now that I've been watching them, and they're like, wow, these guys are the real deal. They're really like, and guys and gals, like,
Mhm.
women, comedians, whatever, whatever, whatever.
Equal thee,
Humans,
thou, thine,
human
whatever
units.
you are. Goats,
I should just say
horses.
comedians is the catch-all. It's
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, who knows? It's we're you know, sometimes the ladies are funny. But
Right. Well,
yeah, it's
we got 2 ladies headlining this weekend in Portsmouth, so,
who's the other?
I know this. It is Karen Morgan.
Oh,
Yeah,
Karen and Erin.
Karen and Aaron.
That's a lot of very white lady names
Yes, yes, it
on
is.
one weekend.
I think you should
Uh,
both collect what you wanna complain about, and
oh, good. I gladly. I got a list. But yeah, it was I actually do like to watch it. So I know what you're saying. It's like you can kind of max out if you're in this. Like my husband is a huge stand-up fan. He's been like I've always been in comedy in my life, but I've always been in for the majority of my life was in sketch and improv. And he was a stand-up super fan before I really even started fully doing it. So whenever we're in in the car, he puts on Sirius, the comedy channels and stuff
wow.
like that. And so I sort of got like, clockwork oranged, inundated as a result of that. I'm like, "Oh my god, fine, I'll do it. Shut up about it." But it got me I like doing it now because I like going to see it a lot, even when I'm not on a show. And
That's
if
great.
I'm like, I'll do a spot, but then I'll stick around and watch because there's, like, always something this is gonna sound so nerdy. There's always something to learn.
Yes, I agree, and I'm actually putting myself, um, like, Friday, I'll be down the winery, and Saturday, I'll be at the studio, so I'm
Yeah,
getting
take
back
it
out there.
in.
Yeah.
And also,
You're
I
thinking
think
about being forced to watch comedy, it made me think of I was in Fallujah, entertain the troops, and
are
this
you
guy
for
has
real? That's real?
yeah, oh,
Fallujah's
yeah,
a real place?
yeah, and the guy has, built his own little thing with a little video projector, and he goes, "We got some tapes to watch," and I forget, he goes, "You wanna watch some comedy?" And we're like, "No,
No.
we
No,
wanna
I
watch
don't
something
wanna
you guys are in."
see, that's why I won't watch Hacks. I will not watch what I do
Right.
in, like, a fictional sort of, like, I don't know. It's exhausting. I'm like, "I don't need to" when you live it, do you need to watch it?
Do you have trouble watching yourself?
I'm getting better.
I've never been able to watch myself, and I'm starting to just force myself, but it's really
I'm getting better because I see the importance of having to get past
yes,
yourself to get better. And the biggest learning curve, let me tell you what, I just recorded my first album and it's coming out at the end of the summer. It's called Baseline Presentable.
nice.
And it's a it's a huge I'm only doing the audio on it, like, I'm editing the audio, and
Right,
the production company is 800 Pound Gorilla Records, and they're gonna be releasing the video of it. If I watch the video, I would probably walk into traffic. But
right,
even just hearing the audio, I hear everywhere I messed up, anything I could do better. We look at ourselves in a way that's so hypercritical, and I'm learning from forcing myself to watch my sets, to listen to my sets. I'm learning that the only way to get better is to look at yourself like it's not you. You have to, like, separate yourself and pretend that you are watching another comic, and what would you say to that person? 'Cause,
you're
the
right.
biggest thing I mean, like,
You know what I've been
editing
you know what's
this
forcing me to do it is I just find I'm like the last guy to get a TikTok account, and I have to make these little 15-second, 20-second
oh, I
videos,
hate TikTok.
and it's murder, but it's like you're forcing yourself to watch this to find that little bit you wanna, you know,
Yeah, I
throw
think
away.
social media forces your hand
Yeah.
if you wanna, and it's a big thing for me. It's been an issue, especially, like, I don't know, for me specifically, like, I have a hard time physically looking at myself
Yeah,
because I'll start to pick apart the things that aren't important,
right,
that have nothing to do with my material. It's like, who gives a fuck what your hair looked like that? Who cares?
right.
It's like, what are you saying? But, um doing this, editing this album, I'm listening to it going like, God, the things I could have fixed if I forced myself to listen to myself or to look at myself and to just, take myself out of the equation.
Right.
It's tough. But that's
When
it.
does the album come out, and where does it come out? Is it gonna go on Sirius and all that, and
Well, God willing,
yeah,
there's a whole, if you don't know, sort of a global lawsuit sort of going on right now
really?
for comics. Yeah, it's like basically it's a rights issue. I'm trying to figure. They explained it to me, and I don't know. I don't want to quote things out of hand, but it started with Spotify, and it's basically trying to get writer and performer credit. which means you'd be paid in 2 different ways, like the same way that, like, Celine Dion, who's a singer-songwriter, gets credit for.
And a hell of a comedian. People don't realize she's
You know
hilarious.
what? She is a knee slapper. If there's one thing I've said about Celine, it's, "Have you seen her tight 5?"
I-
"Have you seen my tight 5?" That's my Celine. And, yeah, so basically,
and credits
hopefully, and scene.
and scene.
Yeah, so there's sort of like a holding pattern going on right now as everybody sort of all the lawyers battle it out to make sure that comics get back up on Sirius, 'cause the Sirius still has the things playing, but they just haven't accepted new albums in a little bit, so God willing, by the time mine comes out, you'll be able to hear it on Sirius. I know for a fact you'll be able to hear it on Apple, when it comes out, in YouTube, it will be released video and audio, but, as of right now, I think, it's again, it's like it's so moot to even talk about where well, ultimately, hopefully, it will be on all platforms. Eventually, it will.
Yeah.
That's why we're sort of trying to time out when it gets released. But
It's
I'm
funny, like
thinking,
technology helped comedians because that for a window, you could make a
yeah,
CD or a DVD. You can make a lot of money after your shows selling them. And
mhm.
then, of course, now it's all just in the wind. You can't sign, uh, a USB port thing.
Yeah.
People tried. I just never saw anyone to have
And
any.
right now we're in the wild, wild west of rights in an era that's so um lawless as far as like,
Well, it's
well,
it's really. This is the first time hearing about, it, so I'm interested in that. That's great.
yeah, look it up. I mean, if you that's why if you go on like Spotify right now and you were to put in I learned this because I was like going on a Kyle Kinane wormhole and I wanted to hear all of his albums and I went on Spotify one day and they were just gone.
Wow.
And I went like, where is this? And then, I looked up Jim Gaffigan's albums and then most of those were missing. And I just, so I sort of started to get some word of what was going on. And then, so I think that a lot of them are not on there right now. They're not on the Spotify platform, but they are on Sirius if they were released before, which they should be. Like you can hear clips of them on Sirius still.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
yeah, look it up. I mean, I'm still learning finer points. I'm just caught in like I know so many people right now who've done albums and we're all caught in the crosshairs of this situation
Yeah, because
and
you
when
want to
we're
get
to
your album
release.
out, but you want to, if there is, I mean, you did write this stuff.
Yeah,
It is your material, so why shouldn't you get paid for that?
that's just it. That's the argument is you're not just performing it, you've created it from scratch. So you should get a paycheck on both sides of things. And hopefully it will come down on our side when the lawyerly duties are
Well,
done.
I saw a guy, and I want to say this is a TikTok guy, but I don't know for sure. But it sounds like he was taking what he thought was people's objectionable material, and then he was dubbing in over it what he thought it should be.
Ew.
And I was like, that is really not right on
Ugh.
in any way. So, say there was an Eddie Murphy bit that in the 1900s he did that is no longer, uh, you know, politically correct. This
Oh
guy
my
would decide
God.
on his own to dub in what he was saying was a better punchline.
No.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, isn't that like wrong? I can't.
Oh,
I don't know if I can find the guy again. If anyone's watched this, you find that guy. I was
well,
like,
he
this
can
because
try, but
in
hey.
TikTok they love to like have a voice of a comedian and then they lip sync along with it,
Yeah. Yeah.
or a song they'll lip sync along with it, and sometimes they look completely out of place doing the voice that looks like is coming out of them, and it's funny, but it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
now if they're going to start changing what you're saying, and it's just
Look,
gone
he
too
can do
far. I
it, but it
believe.
will be the court of public opinion as to whether or not that's a more effective punchline than some classic people who have worked hard at this their entire lives and
Right,
left a
right,
legacy.
and you got to have a little context, when looking at stuff. You know,
Nuance is dead, Jim. Nuance is dead.
yes.
Have you watched that new George Carlin documentary?
I don't think I have.
Get nerdy.
I feel like I'm
Watch
getting
it.
homework here. I'm writing these things down.
I
George Carlin.
know.
You
I
see
have
me when I
so
look down
much
like
to
to
tell
my
you.
right, I'm like George Carlin, gotta watch that.
Gotta watch that, you gotta listen to certain people, but, yeah, the George Carlin thing is great because, he was so ahead of his time,
Yeah.
obviously, but
Yep.
one of the things that keeps getting, like, sort of coming back to is nuance and, like, that's how, the 7 words bit came along, which is, it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Ah, well, listen, Miss McGuire, I've given you enough trouble. You got things to do. You had a bad day in New York.
Oh, it's been a long day. I was very, very busy, and my AirPod keeps popping out of my ear.
Uh,
Oh, it's tough.
I think it's time to let you off the hook, but I am so grateful for you, even after your long, crazy day, that you'd spent some time with us here
Of
and
course,
that
I'm
you're
glad to
working
be
up at
here.
the cues. And you're just, glad that I met you and that you're in this, you're in the,
I'm in the club, man,
you're in the
literally.
club. You're in the club. Yeah.
Yes, and I will be in the club tomorrow night, so people should come to McHugh's for some laughs and some French fries. God damn it!
Okay. And if you have any other shameless plug, now's the time to do it. And then we're going to roll credits.
Baseline Presentable. It's my album that will hopefully be coming out the end of the summer, maybe beginning of fall. We're editing it right now, and we're getting all the ducks in a row.
Okay.
But it will be definitely available on Apple, iTunes, and hopefully, on all platforms as soon as everything gets ironed out.
All right, and I want to thank everybody for listening or watching or whatever you did, and please keep doing it. And I'm going to be in at the winery, and I'm going to be at the studio. And thank you so much.
Thank
Goodbye.
you.